guys, welcome to Listertainment, the channel with the most deceptive name in all of YouTube. All my lists are usually based on one topic, but sometimes I find really weird videos and can't find enough other clips to fill up a list, so I decided to make a list all about these strange events. It's bound to happen where you have thousands of fights, that there has to be pretty weird things that occur. Also, fighters can't be the most normal humans out there. For God's sakes, their profession is beating others and getting beat up. Plus, there are a ton of other people in the ring or octagon, so when you have a bunch of other humans together, sometimes weird or strange things are going to happen. In 1993, Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield were having the rematch at Caesar's Palace, when in the 7th round, a freaking paraglider fell into the ring.
We're going to show you watch the left side of your screen where the bow corner's in the foreground. See the photographer's looking, and he landed on the top ring with his parachute.
Technically, this guy was doing a stunt, and was his first of many, but he still had to work out some quirks, as when he was making his entrance, the lines on his paraglider got stuck on the lights, and then he fell on top of the top rope. At which point, he was dragged down by the crowd and security. You never want to interrupt an event that has a ton of adrenaline, as this crowd started beating up James Miller, and then the security came in and really beat him badly, knocking him unconscious. He later made the joke that he went into a heavyweight fight and he was the only one to get knocked out, as the fight ended in favor of Holyfield by a majority decision. So when looking at the scene, you are thinking that the guy in yellow is way outmatched and should never have gotten into the ring. Green Shorts over here is just letting loose on him with a ton of shots, but they're fairly weak ones and most are being blocked. But then the Kraken awakens. This video could very well be fake, but damn, that punch looks freaking vicious, turning into a freaking clothesline from the top rope. The video is very appropriately named One Punch Man, and there is no better way to describe this. The guy was letting the other guy hit him with all he's got, hoping that he would have something special that would hurt him, but eventually he got tired and just ended it with a freaking nuclear punch. Derrick Lewis is one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, mostly due to his celebrations after winning and then those crazy interviews.
Winner Derrick Lewis. Derrick, why'd you take your pants off? My balls was hot.
His fighting style is, well, I don't know if it's a fighting style at all. It's basically just his right hand. He has some crazy power in that hand, and he tries to end all fights with it. During his fight against Junior Dos Santos, he pulled off a crazy move.
In a career. Oh, wow, that hurt. Looked like that might have been to the body. Oh!
This happened in the first round, where Dos Santos landed a perfect spinning sidekick that must have hurt like hell. Now, some people are unsure if Lewis was faking here, but I don't think he was, since it landed pretty damn close to his liver. Plus, he was still in pain after landing that punch in the drop of Dos Santos. The only reason he didn't get the knockout right here was because Dos Santos' front kick blocked the full power. Unfortunately for Lewis, missing this punch led to his defeat in the second round. Danny Mitchell and Igor Araujo faced off in 2014, and they had a very tiring fight, so much so that at the end of the third round, they were just sitting on the canvas with their feet kind of tied up, and they just started swinging at each other.
Well, if he feels confident, then maybe that's how he's going to spend the last part of the round. But
they could have easily gotten out from that position, but they just both decided to throw Hammerfist at each other without doing much damage, since it's pretty difficult to do anything from that position.
Wow, look at this!
They did that for almost 30 seconds before they slowed down. The crowd is of course going to enjoy it, since they're swinging with reckless abandon, almost looking like freaking gorillas.
Well, they've still got 20 seconds and I'm already tired watching them. Let's see how they can keep.
Bruce Buffer is probably one of the most animated announcers in the sport, really getting into it with the jumping and screaming. And apparently one time while announcing the fight between George St. Pierre and Jake Shields, he tore his freaking ACL.
George Rush St. Pierre!
That scream that you heard when he was announcing St. Pierre was a scream of pain, since Buffer knows that St. Pierre does a step forward when he is being announced. Thus, he takes a jump back, and that's when his knee gave out. He heard the sound from his knee over the crowd, and as the pain traveled up his body, that's when the scream comes out announcing St. Pierre.
St. Pierre!
This man also stayed in the ring instead of going to the hospital and announced the winner of the fight after it was over. Luckily, it was the last fight of the night. There are a ton of times when a boxer takes an errant swing and the opponent ducks the punch, landing both fighters in an awkward position. The puncher is left hanging over his opponent and is at his mercy if he's going to let him down easy or just freaking drop him from the top rope. This one was very hard to watch.
Not to even think about getting into that sort of fight.
Because you bring...
Now that, I think, will lose him a point.
This was weirder than most of the others because this guy didn't try to grab the ducking Archie. Isn't that common sense? Just put him in a headlock or something. Grab onto him. And the other guy even pushes him up and then shoves him with his shoulder, like he's completing a weightlifting set. That is such a dangerous fall to take. Luckily, his hands cushioned his fall somewhat. The fight was between Archie Sharp and Diego Andrade, and Sharp was able to pull out the win. Tommy Morrison was making his first defense of his belt and was set to fight Mike Williams, but Williams never left the dressing room as he quit before the fight even started and pulled out of the fight 2 hours before it was set to begin. In the stands was Tim Tamashek, a heavyweight journeyman who had a couple of beers and a hot dog and was given the opportunity to step in, and he took it.
I'll say that, he always is.
We've had him on ESPN a couple of times.
He did actually manage to get some good hits in there, but of course, Morrison was a monster at this time, and he took him out in the 4th round.
It's part of the reason why he's being hit a lot harder.
Good double left hand again, that hurt Tamashek, and down goes Tamashek.
The winner by TKO.
It's not the movie scene where they pull a random stranger from the crowd who was able to beat the champion. But still, to have a guy with no preparation come in there to fight the freaking champion is pretty amazing. Kelvin Gastelum was in the middle of the 2nd round, choking out Bubba McDaniel, when one of the strangest things happened. Did you notice what the referee failed to notice? McDaniel actually went unconscious before tapping out, but never closed his eyes. But the referee should have noticed after he dropped his hands and stopped fighting back. Gastelum is telling the ref that he's out, but he didn't listen, and that's when McDaniel woke up, probably confused, but instincts told him to tap out. You can see his eyes go from glazed over to suddenly moving again as he wakes up. Freaking crazy. Showboating in fights can be pretty entertaining, especially if they are innocent moves that actually help you land a shot. But this one is so weird that you have never seen anything like it.
What is the 5 fingers say to the face? What? Slap!
He went from throwing a jumping knee, expecting the other guy to come in fast, to just dropping back to earth, probably in slow motion in his mind, just thinking what he should do next. And he thought, well, let's just throw a slap. That slap almost sent the other guy flying through the ropes. If only he would have thrown a punch, instead the fight might have been over. The other guy wasn't expecting it, and that's why it actually put him off balance. I'm still surprised this guy didn't break out laughing, cause I certainly would have. Would you ever think that you would see a freaking MMA fighter, a professional killer, actually tickling his opponent's feet? Well, that's exactly what Kevin Holland did in one of his fights.
He's tickling his feet, man. He's
Oh
tickling
my
his
God!
feet.
Who tickles another man's feet in a fight?
The commentators are in complete shock, almost disgusted by this disrespect. It's a case of showboating since he feels that he has the fight under complete control and he can just play around with his opponent by tickling him. What must the other guy be thinking? That this can't possibly be happening. He would rather have the famous wrestling fingering than this completely inappropriate, almost erotic form of showboating. If you happen to enjoy this video, please give it a like as it really helps out with the algorithm. It really is a like slut. Also, please be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications. Poor old Bruce Buffer. Reminds me of Grammatica breaking his foot while celebrating a field goal. At least you know that he takes his job very seriously, and although people used to laugh at his introductions, they have now become legendary, just like his brothers. Thank you for watching. See you next time.